Prashant Thakur of ANAROCK and Gulam Zia of Knight Frank are joining us to talk more about that. Gentlemen, good morning. Thank you very much for your time. Gulam, I'll start with you because you're wearing a lot of pink this morning, and the sector is in a pink of health. And now there seem to be the data at 10-year high. Where is so much of volume growth coming from? What are the triggers? And it appears to be sustaining.
Yes. So to start with, the shift that we have seen in the fortunes of real estate industry on the other side of COVID has been an unbelievable run. The transactions were almost coming to like the industry was in a bad shape during COVID. And on the other side, because of a lot of government interventions on the consumer side, where initially there were huge reductions on stamp duties, etc., and even home loan interest rates came down so heavily. Last couple of quarters only, the home loan interest rates started going up. So except for that period, the volumes were growing unabashed. The recent phase, last 3-4 quarters after the higher home loan interest rates have come about, one segment of the market is the only one which is not doing well, which is affordable to below a segment. But the upper end is doing extremely well. And when you talk about numbers, most of the listed players or known developers across the country cater barely to the upper 10% of the demand of the housing requirement. And that is what is worth looking at, because the growth in the industry that you're talking about is happening because of mid to upper end only. And that is, in a way, it is also slightly worrisome, because that may not last long. Sometime you will have to focus on mid to low end, but that said, at least so far the party continues, because mid to upper end is growing like anything, and the transaction volumes are just not coming down in spite of high home loan interest rates. Because on the other side, the wealth creation earlier, whether it was because of good stock performances or good salary rises, and overall the mid to upper end has really thrived, and hence the housing demand has continued. So overall, so far, the demand is continuing, and perhaps next couple of quarters also, we don't see any hurdle for this kind of growth to continue. Back to you.
No hurdle at all in the near term. All right. Shobit, now there is another big scheme in the offering from the government side. We are gathering that almost, Prashant, from the government side, $7.5 billion worth of scheme to give the further fillip to urban middle class. So will this really give a lot of push to this kind of already the sector is in massive momentum? How long, how potential could this be?
See, as Gulam rightly said that there has been a good upsurge in the overall sales. But what we have seen is that while the upper segment is doing quite well, the lower and affordable segment has been kind of lagging behind, and there are a couple of reasons behind it. So while rise in interest rate did not impact the upper and mid-upper too much, the affordable segment got impacted because of interest rate increase, the home loan eligibility of these borrowers came down, because most of them work in either unorganized sector or they don't have steady income source. I'm talking about buyers of affordable housing. What also happened was that because of increase in material cost, the cost of overall affordable housing went up. So in my opinion, any subsidy, or let's say bringing back this CLSS scheme, which gives interest subvention to the buyers of affordable, will give a push to this segment as well. And when you combine the already well-doing upper segment, and when this lower segment also starts to pick up, I think the overall volume will pick up further. So in my opinion, this move, if it is implemented, I think will definitely give a fillip to the numbers. And in my opinion, with the whole intention of this housing for all was to help the urban poor, the economic weaker section and low-income group. And somewhere in this rally of residential sales, we have seen this segment not participating while the other well-off segment is doing well. So in my opinion, this will be a great initiative if it is taken, and overall numbers will get a boost.
Sure. Gulam, I wanted to know the reality, because of late we have been seeing a lot of videos, reading a lot of headlines that a new property is launched, and within 24 hours, 36 hours, 48 hours, they're completely sold out. Do you think this is largely a marketing gimmick as well? And, these are just the booking names which are later withdrawn? or there's genuinely that much demand for a lot of these properties that they're getting sold off the shelf?
Is that question to me?
Gulam, yeah, the question is for you.
Okay, well, I would say I would go with mixed bag kind of a feeling, because many of these transactions are definitely happening, but on the other side, it's also a kind of a media buzz as well. To create euphoria in the markets. A few of the developers have successfully done what you're indicating. Like earlier, we saw some big names up north and even in western side. We did see in Mumbai and Delhi a lot of such schemes picked up like hotcakes. But that's not something which you can generalize across the market. Number one, the developer has to be really good with good credentials. Number two, the product indeed has to be good. So these two factors coming together, and of course, I can't forget about the pricing. These three things falling together, you do have consumers making a beeline to buy such products. But that, once again, let me caution you, it cannot be generalized, because every such project will have at least 10 other projects which will struggle to sell. So overall, while the markets have given very good response to a few of such projects, but it is not a general story. I hope your point is answered well.
Prashant, but what one is witnessing, and please correct me if I'm wrong here, that the demand is actually scaling up only within the luxury as well as the high ticket size or housing segments. Is that really the case? I mean, is that where all the demand and supply as well is happening?
You are right when you say that, we are seeing a lot of action on the top segment. There are a couple of reasons, as I mentioned, that, the interest rate, home loan rate increase has not impacted the upper segment much. It is the lower strata of the income group that has been impacted, because the loan eligibility also comes down. The effect that we are seeing is, in 2018, the share of affordable housing in the overall new launches was 48%. Today, it stands at 18%. So somewhere, I think, while the number has picked up, overall number, sales volume and supply volume, it is getting concentrated towards 85 lakhs and above segment. These are, people who work in formal companies. They have a regular stream of income. Even if the home loan goes up, they don't get impacted much. But the real worry is that India is still a housing deficit country. And when you talk about economically weaker classes and low income group, that's where the intention of affordable housing was, the scheme was launched to benefit them. So in my opinion, the talks that we are hearing is that these schemes, CLSA schemes, would be relaunched, would help that. And ideally, when the volume picks up in the affordable segment, that's where we see the real number coming up. Because in my opinion, the continuous demand on the luxury side might not be sustainable. It might, be either a result of pent-up demand or, let's say, a time frame demand. But if you want a sustainable, long-lasting growth for this industry, it has to be an overall participation, and that comes from the bottom of pyramid.
And the bottom of pyramid is just waiting by to participate as well. Thank you, Prashant, as well as Gulam, for joining us on that quick take as to where the real estate sector is headed, and more importantly, how long can this euphoria really continue.